will be like a Garden of Eden again. And this is going to be your home. We're going to be in heaven, 7 years? I'm a little off course from the covenant a little bit. We're going to be in heaven 7 years before we come back. That's not your eternal resting place. That's your home for when we leave this world now. Your eternal resting place is going to be on this earth. I'm not Jehovah's Witness either. They teach that. I believe that. They teach it. But nevertheless, he's going to eat with us and drink with us again at the marriage supper of the Lamb.
Well, the government said that a New Jerusalem would be coming down. There will be a city that Jesus will rule and reign at 1,400 miles 4 square. And, I have questioned, after we are upon this earth ruling and reigning with the Lord 1,000 years of perfect peace, then the Bible speaks of the golden age of eternity we're going on into. And I've got a little question in my mind. Will that be here upon earth, or where will it be?
We're not going back to heaven. You won't find it nowhere in the Testament that he's going to take us back.
Once we get here, we're going to stay.
That's what I understand the scriptures. That's my interpretation of it. But you know why I say that? Is because I don't find nowhere in the Testament that we're going to go back. It's the same as it was in Acts 2 when the Holy Ghost came and the cloven fire and the mighty rushing wind. The Bible said he sent him. The church today says he's went back. Some of the church say it's not so. He's not here. I find in the scripture nowhere where he went back. He came to stay. He came to make his abode with us. That's why I can say that other way.
I do know the government would be under the dictatorship of Jesus, and they say that's the best form of government if it is the Son of God that is ruling and reigning.
But he's going to rule and reign.
But we'll rule and reign with him.
We're going to rule and reign with him according to the scriptures. You made a statement there had been 1,400 miles. It's 1,500 miles, isn't it? Square, one way to the other way, 1,500 miles high. Man, I'm going to tell you, that's God's condo. That is a condo. That's a city that's going to come down. I thought about bringing some stuff on that on it. One of these days we will again, but nevertheless, he said, in my Father's house are many mansions.
Okay, let me tell you something else. I think it would be an actual, tangible form of city, but I think the coming down are going to be all of the saints that are in heaven waiting for the new glorified body that are going to come upon this earth with it too. That's my thoughts.
In my Father's house are many mansions. You ever thought about it? The interpretation is that he's got a lot of rooms for us to live in. But you ever thought about you being that mansion? You're the temple of God.
That's what I was going to say.
In my Father's house are many mansions. You're the temple of the Holy One, as Corinthians talks about.
But the mansions where heaven is are really mansions there too.
It's a mystery that none of us really know, really. But considering the size of this new heavenly Jerusalem that's coming down from this earth, how far is it from the East Coast to the West Coast in the United States? You ever thought about that? It's further east and west than it is north and south.
Mm-hmm.
So, if it's 1,500 miles, how in this world is God going to set his heavenly city down upon this earth with all the lakes and the rivers and the streams? Does not the Bible say he's going to dry up all the rivers and all the lakes?
No, he said there'd be no more sea.
Well, you know what? He's going to do away with it.
There'll be water somewhere.
Well, sure there'll be water, but he's going to do away with it. So this new heavenly city is going to come down and set upon this earth. And I am not saying it's going to be here in the United States. I'm saying all this stuff's going to take place though in the Middle East. That's where it all started. That's where it'll all end up at. And the Antichrist is not going to come out of the United States. He's going to come out of the Middle East somewhere. I could give you some thoughts on the Antichrist, but we're going to hold that to later. I'm not saying who the Antichrist is, but I'm going to say that spirit of the Antichrist. I will drop it to you this way and say Nero in the old covenant was the worst in the Bible, was the worst of the kings and all of them. He burnt the Christians at the stake and everything else. I'm not saying he's going to come back out of there to be the Antichrist, but I'm going to say the spirit of his hatred of things of God, his spirit is going to possess someone else who God has already predestined and chosen. Nero's spirit to hate the Christian that much. I'm not going to get in on that now. That's a whole other story. We're talking about the covenant right now. I want to give you real quick, next 2 or 3 minutes on the Abrahamic covenant. And we are also under that part of the covenant of Abraham. Did you know that? We are under part of that also. You don't have this sheet, so you have to listen. A promise that God made to Abraham, and he was nothing but a sheep herder. He was not a Christian. He was not a Jew. He was not a believer in God at all. So I asked you the question, how reckon, why, this way, why did God choose Abraham and give him that covenant?
God looks at the heart.
He looked at the heart, and he believed God. It was counted for him for righteousness when God spoke to him. So this covenant was, God promised to give Abraham and his descendants, and we're part of that descendants, whether you want to graft it in, whether you accept it or not, protection, and all the blessings. Read Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, of all the blessings that God was going to give to Abraham. Blessed in the city, blessed in the town, blessed going in, blessed going out. And then also about around the 18th verse of it, if you didn't keep that covenant that I made with you, these curses would come upon you. Study that and read it.